Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look. Financial time, just for the record. I want to say it again. The ticker at the bottom of the screen. These are pre-recorded. I'm doing videos. This is not up to date. And I'm not giving you financial advice on what to invest, not at all. I just want to do a commentary, okay, on the issue. But please, by all means, keep in mind, the tickers at the bottom of the screen are not in real time, okay? I'm just pointing out different clips in the news to do commentaries. We can have the conversation. But the tickers are not in real time, and I'm not serving as a financial advisor by any means, okay? So let's look at this clip, please, and I will return with brief commentary.
Colin, joining us to continue that conversation, David Clooney, Executive Director of the Black
Let's kind of go back
Alliance.
a little bit.
David, welcome back. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you, Carl. Thanks for having me.
You know, I was just thinking back in the wake of George Floyd, we talked a lot about promises that corporate America was making about diversity and inclusion and making capital available to a large part of Black America. Do you think those promises have held?
So, you know, it's been a little less than 2 years since George Floyd's murder in May of 2020. And let's start with the good. You know, we've seen an unprecedented level of commitment, both financial and rhetorical, to racial equity. Companies are talking about racial equity with a particular focus on Black Americans and the need to create a new system that proactively includes and lifts up Black people, particularly economically. So all of that is good. You know, I think there is a need for us to dig deeper about how we got here and you know how we can prescribe effective solutions, and data is a huge tool to doing that. So you know, when companies are looking at both the experience of their employees internally, but also their performance in serving communities of color, data is an invaluable asset that we are just starting to uncover. And I also should add that we need to disaggregate that data to figure out exactly where your strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities are.
Right. Now we're entering a period here where lapping fiscal stimulus and expirations of things like the expanded child tax credit are going to weigh heavily on minority households across the country. I wonder how you think that conversation is going to go in the coming months.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And
And I'm going to kind of stop here because what he does, he pretty much goes on about he's a board. He's I guess he has a board seat. Okay, so, and he goes around and around, you know. Yeah, so we're going to stop there. Here's the deal I want to kind of go over. Look at this. It says diversifying corporate America. Racial and ethnic inequalities have cost the U.S. economy $51 trillion and lost output since 1990. So the cost of discrimination, inequities, the U.S. GDP, the gross domestic product, has lost $16 trillion as a result of discrimination against Black Americans over the past 20 years, according to 2020 Citi Report. The U.S. GDP has lost $16 trillion as a result of discrimination against Black Americans. So what's the GDP, gross domestic product? Gross domestic product is used to estimate the size of the U.S. economy. It is calculated as the value of all goods and services produced in the U.S. In 2019, the GDP was $21.4 trillion. GDP measures the amount of value added in the production process. There are two ways of measuring the production of a given product. We can look at the value at final sale, or we can look at how much value was added at each stage of production. Imagine the production of a loaf of bread. A farmer produces the wheat and sells it to a bakery. The bakery takes the wheat and produces a loaf of bread that it sells to the grocery store. The grocery store then sells it to the final consumer. The loaf of bread may sell for $3 to the final consumer and be counted as $3 in GDP. But the $3 can also be broken down at each of the production processes. The $3 equals the total of the amount of value that was added at each stage of production. Let's go back here. So, the US GDP, gross domestic product, has lost 16 trillion as a result of discrimination against Black Americans over the past 20 years, according to a 2020 Citi Report. So if they hadn't discriminated against Black Americans, that's money they could have gained. And if you don't wake up and smell the coffee, and it makes us look so stupid, but we can't get along to have our own businesses. We can't treat each other right with respect. They would rather lose trillions of dollars than to give us a fair shake. If the cost of discrimination against Black Americans is going to cost them a loss of $16 trillion to keep you down, they're willing to pay the price. What the heck does that tell you? Since 1990, it's cost $51 trillion. But if that's what it takes to keep you down and keep you in a place of poverty, to keep you in your place, they are willing to pay that cost, pay that price. Wow. Talk about dedication to keeping you down. And then the no-grow Negroes, when somebody Black tries to build, we either boycott them economically, or you trying to make some money. You ain't making no money off me. So stupid. It's so ignorant. So we can't go on each other. So we try to we will boycott economically. We come in asking for a discount or trying to get free services. And don't forget, all-time favorite in Blakistan, just kill a business owner. Who's the super fool? But why would they do that? Someone has to be on the bottom. And this tells me through discriminatory practices, they're making sure it's you. And that's the cost that they're willing to pay. And then we turn around and do the same thing. We're making sure it's us by the things that we do and by the things that we don't do. We can't respect each other. We can't work together. We can't build together. Why? It's going to be a fool somewhere in the bunch. If it's not the business owner that's done hired some old rude, ignorant Black person, that's his Black customer to feel, oh, this is my chance to act tacky. Let me tell you something. Brick and mortar, even if it's online, when you are a Black business owner, you got to really keep your head on the swivel and watch at all times. Because when you hire your own, sometimes they will act a certain way with you there. But then when you're gone, they can get real tacky. And then, don't forget, oh, the lovely Black customer. Yeah, you too. Sometimes they see it's Black owned, they want to all of a sudden act less than or want to make you jump through some hoops because they're so ignorant. They hate you and you do too. Who is the super fool? The US GDP has lost 16 trillion as a result of discrimination against Black Americans. And then we turn around and follow suit. Well, they hate us, I'm going to hate me too. $16 trillion. That's the price they're willing to pay. There was a job. There are jobs now. There was a job paying about $80 a year. Not even working 40 hours a week. The company, not so large, mid-size. Among their people, mainly white people working there, they couldn't find a candidate. Went to an outside source. That outside source that had the credentials to get the job done, yeah, a little problem. You're presenting all Black people. What do you think they did? Huh. You're presenting all Black people with these credentials? We're going to keep it in-house. and give it to Becky, who's less qualified. You already searched in-house. What are they doing? Looking after their own. Person you already searched in-house, they weren't qualified. But these candidates are all black with the credentials that you want and need. Hint, hint. They're not, let's keep it real, keep it 100, keep it a buck. They're not about to give a job that requires you to work less than 40 hours a week and pay you 80 G's. The ones making the decision are all white, looking out for their own. So since, and I hate to say this, most black people, let's be real, if you're going to be real and if you analyze the group economically and in the thinking process, most black people love white supremacy. So how about you try this here? Since we love and revere that white man so much, like he loved his own, why don't you try? But you can't. You got chains on your mind. You really have chains wrapped around your mind. We want to make sure that we uphold the white supremacy. You're only mad about it when they shot and killed a black man. Let's be real. If you're going to be real about it. $16 trillion. Now, as a man mentioned before, during the George Floyd area, all this talk about, these companies are going to hire so many black people. Let's be real. That's all it was. It was just talk. It's the way you can get some free airtime for your company on the screen. Life is business. It's not about just sitting up hee-hawing and laughing all the time and watching TV and streaming. It's business. You can make it rain on black pain. Well, look what happened. I'm going to get on there and talk about my company and say we're going to go ahead and hire a lot of black people. Or we're going to increase our minority representation in the workforce. It's all talk. See, they're winning. They got on TV, got on Squawk Box. What they get from it? Free advertising for their business. What are these companies now to show, okay, we're going on almost 2 years? What are these companies now to say, okay, we did this, we set this in Squawk Box, and guess what? Here's the quota. What are these companies now? Let's see the results. They're not posting the results. It was all fluff from the get-go. They're not posting the results. It was all talk. We still have too many college degrees sitting at home on the sofa. Sending out resume after resume after resume. It was all talk. A lot of our black people fed into it. It was, what I talked with a guy about it. Wealthy. What do you think about that? And he told me it's exact word, it's all fluff. Which I already knew that. But we didn't. We think because they said it. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about. And it's conversations like this that we don't want to have. We're not ready. Just like children, concentrating on dancing and laughing and kicking until you find yourself getting evicted or getting kicked out. Harder streamers than homeless shelter, huh? Couch surfing. Where are all those jobs? We're going to be diversifying into our workforce. Really? When? Where are the jobs? They're not there. Running game. Running. They're running a game. And I hate to say it, our people just fall for it each time because they said. It's not so much as what they say, it's what they do. It's just like black people. We always talk about what we want and we need some jobs. I'm so sick of it. Jobs come from businesses. Maybe if we could get along with each other, go into the store or business, get your purchase and move on. But no, it's a black store. We want some extra. Or the black business owner, you want to get real tacky with you. They want to get tacky. How you come up with this? They don't owe you jack. Do you ask the white man that when you go in his store? Go ask the Asian man that when you buying that weave, when you buying those tennis shoes. Ask the man in the Foot Locker or Adidas. Go ask them, how you come up with that? Well, no, I want to get into their personal business now. Can't respect each other. Afraid somebody look like you is going to have something. So issues like this, we're not ready to tackle it because we can't even tackle common sense issues. We can't even get over the jealousy. We can't get over the self-hate. And as long as you have jealousy and self-hate and you are wallowing in ignorance and self-pity, you're going to get what you get. That's at the bottom of the list. Pat yourself on the Blackistan. We've earned it. You're going to get what you get. And that's why we're at the bottom of the list. At the very bottom. Recognize game. Diversifying corporate America. That's a joke. And if they do, they know how to sprinkle it. Why? They're taking care of their own. Everybody gets some extra, but black people. They are taking care of their own. This will be the main one. I ain't gonna deal with them because they're black. You sure as hell don't. You sure as hell don't. But I can tell you one thing. Nobody else thinks like that. Just can't get out of all you've been through. On that slave ship, they were getting along. Oh, I guarantee you they were. They weren't fighting each other on that slave ship. No. Now you're free. Let the fighting and it's just a fighting and killing spree. So issues like this here, shows like this here, videos like this here, it's not gonna go too well over. Doing some fighting and some fussing and shooting and cussing, we in. Darling, that's a problem. That is a serious problem. Black Economics Alliance. Where's the black economy? The black economy is pretty much non-existent because it doesn't really support black people. But the black economy, oh yeah, they've got one. It's busy building everybody else. Everybody's economy. That's what it's busy doing. That's where the money's going. And you wonder why people look at us like we're stupid. So all those jobs, what are the jobs? Like the one I just mentioned to you. Well, you already looked in-house and couldn't find anybody. No, they know what time it is. That's an easy job. They'll take their chances with Becky. Just like that screenshot about the GDP, 16 trillion lost because of discrimination. Other groups, they're going to fight for their own to the death, and all we're doing is fighting each other, causing death. Make it make sense? It's an embarrassment to the ancestors. So some of you believing in the smoke screen, and then I can't stand what I'm coming with. Well, my cousin, you talking about one Negro out of millions. My cousin got a job there. Well, my boyfriend. So stupid. Look at the bigger picture. So let's think about it. $16 trillion lost because they discriminate against black Americans. $16 trillion lost out of the GDP, gross domestic product. That shows you the dedication to make sure we stay at the bottom. That's their dedication. And you know what the worst thing is? The black folks are gladly participating in their dedication to keeping us down. Think about it. Look at their dedication and look at our through jealousy and ignorance. Woeful will. Jealousy and ignorance. What was that a cause? Self-hatred. They're discriminating against us. Even at a loss to the GDP, they are dedicated. And just being ignorant black folks are just gladly going along with it, participating. Think about it. I'm out.